set up the team to properly get into land development? How do we understand the risk that's associated with it? And ultimately, what do the dollars look like? Wrap it all together, and then we'll leave with some actionable items that you guys can take with you and put into the marketplace to be able to make more deals, do it in less time, and be more impactful with the ones that you're working with so that you can retain them for future deals. Everyone buy in? You good? Good? Sinai?
I'm not in it.
Ready to learn? All right, ready to go. Adam, how we feeling? Good. All right. How you guys feeling? Good? Awesome. As we go through this, Adam, are you on slides right now for adjusting slides? Yep. Good. All right. So as we go through this, my development partner, my colleague Jason Trembicki, he's part of Trelia. Trembicki, Trelia. That's us. And what we do, like we indicate, is tomorrow's neighborhood is today. A lot of these towns are handcuffing developers. What we're looking to do is use those same rules and ordinances, just do it in a different way, show a different product, and maximize for a lot of the regional, local, and national developers that we work with. In that context, what we have is when we are starting land development, a lot of times the first thing that comes to me is, how do we make sense of what's going on? How do we make sense of everything that is not known to what is known? Now, today's day and age, we've got a lot of technology tools. So certain things that we can apply with AI using Chat or Gemini or Claude are going to be easier to understand what the risk level is. So when you start off, when you start understanding a property, why don't you just take one property that you guys can think of and understand where that is that you're looking at in your marketplace. Maybe it's a knockdown building, maybe it's being built, but just some type of development, okay? You guys all have that pictured in your mind? Maybe a building 4 stories, got retail below, or townhouse development in your community that's a strip, maybe a big building or small one that you like or really dislike. But think about it in your mind. So if you start from that point, about 12 months before that, or even 16 months before that, the people that were the applicant were going for the approvals. And that means that they were going to seek a development. What does that mean? It means that they had to go throughout that entire process. So why are developments with approved plans versus not approved plans totally different in their pricing? It's because it bakes in all of the time, the cost, and all of the resources you have to deploy to get it to an approval status. So it comes at cost, right? Natural. You get a premium for that versus the latter. Okay. So we'll jump into that. Adam, next slide. So as we go, land development process, financial opportunities. That's what we're going to harp on today, from opportunities to construction timeline and success. A team required, and then investing into the entitlement projects and identifying development opportunities. Guys, what we are here to do is also untap dirt to dollars for you guys. So if you have properties, listings, if you have your own property, you own them, portfolio, you can untap this and simply raise your hand, reach out to us about a property, co-bro, or to be a potential purchaser for that based on our pricing corridor. Now, what we've seen is research has shown that our pricing is more favorable than just selling a building, because we untap that dirt to dollars. An example would be a purchase that we had that was roughly 2.3 million, and all of a sudden, an as-is purchaser would only pay roughly 1.5. So a seller got an extra $800,000 for taking the ride with some trusted professionals for 6 to 12 months. Things like that are where you then can use that value to add it into the marketplace. And that's where you get that formula from. So when you understand what to use, you can just kind of plug the boxes in, understand what the potential is, see if the owner, yourselves, are worth the time and the effort and energy to go for that plan. It's as simple as that, all right? So that's the process as we go through. From the opportunity and construction timeline, these things take some time. They're not just a standard contract, and they're not just gonna be an attorney review and all of a sudden it's all done. I've negotiated contracts for months, negotiate them for weeks, and also for days. Both of them work, all of them work, but it's only a matter of how efficient you are. If you're speaking development language with development attorneys and people that are unscathed, you pretty much have a higher advantageous to a success in the transaction than not. What I've seen, a lot of research has shown, is the attorneys are the blockade. They don't know what they're doing in terms of how the development usually works. So they throw in whatever the legal wording is or whatever they want to be paid for. The smart attorneys that have legal development background know how to navigate these contracts. And they understand what they have to do when they pick up the phone and call the other attorney to navigate through a deal instead of being passive and waiting. And those are things that I take very serious, because you guys don't understand the impacts that you guys are making in terms of the way that you block things. And those are things that are happening in reality. So get yourself a good attorney that understands development, because otherwise you are gonna be put in a position where their learning curve or their, smarts is outsmarting the project when it can work best for the owner. And the owner just looks at it and says, I wanna trust the attorney, which is why we have to go to the attorney first to make sure that we have some money. If not, these development deals could be stopped right there. Okay, so just write out the process. Now, the opportunities that exist as we go through, we have opportunities to exist for investing with Trillium, with us, in terms of advancing our communities in New Jersey. We also have advancing communities for you guys. If you have properties you wanna do it on your own, there's ways that you can get into that, identify the development site, maybe it's yours, maybe it's a listing that you have. Bring it to us, let's see what that is, and we can unpack those details, okay? So that's what we're gonna jump into, starting with, Adam, if we can go to the next slide. Our unapproved land problem. Guys, we've got a land problem. And it's meaning unapproved. New Jersey does not have a large enough pipeline of approved plans, ready for in-place local national buyers. It's just as simple as that. We're down roughly 10 million homes in the entire United States. Over 500,000 right here in New Jersey. So what does that mean? It means every time that we advance these communities and properties get competitive in terms of pricing, because now if you have 5 or 10 new buildings come out, they're all competitive in pricing. So if John's moving down the street into the new building, maybe he gets a concession. Maybe all of a sudden now that pricing goes down a little bit from 2,500 back to 2,200, where it should be with the other competition. That's what we're talking about. And doing it in just good, fair ways. And this is how you have to strategize. It's like playing chess instead of checkers. And if you understand that, you'll understand we have a land problem. The towns have a 4th round of amendment that they have to go through with the affordable units. So if you guys look at that as an advantage versus a roadblock. Well, yeah, they have to have, towns have a code, you have to have this amount approved. Otherwise, the federal government comes in and says, these parcels of land are now potential developments, and then the developers gobble up the development. So as of right, becomes those types of states. So as we're going through, this is causing construction crisis housing throughout us. It's simply put, we have too many people, not enough new constructions. Why do you think new constructions get the best pricing? Not only because they're new, it's because it's so hard to get them. But go to an area where everything's new, much more affordable. Incredible, right? It's absolutely incredible. Go somewhere in the Midwest, get a brand new house for $350. Not here. This is what we're talking about. And a lot of our bureaucracy, a lot of our politics are built into this. Why? Because when you have to give escrows for zoning, you have to give escrows for professionals, and they make you spend 10 grand for certain things and applications. You know how expensive these developments get? And the towns just want to keep paying their professionals, keep everything in motion, and they're looking at it and saying, well, our town shareholders, our population want to keep it this way. And that's what we're talking about. We're breaking through that by being smart and strategic in our approach and in our land, knowing this information. So our builder purchasers are happy to pay premiums for the approved plans because of the value that we bring. So we understand the plans, the differences, which we can share with you guys, and you guys can grow and learn. And it starts, our YouTube channel right there. Our YouTube channel is a wonderful way to learn and to understand our developments and to go throughout it. So it's Build with Bruce. If you check it out, we'll also have the slide at the end. But that's a good way. You can start looking at what the projects are and what we're transforming. Maybe you get inspired in something that you guys are in front of your face having right now. You don't even know. That's the type of opportunity. Let's go to the next slide. So development team, guys, let's get a little bit involved. Have you ever done a development? Development? Anybody here? First timers. Yeah, cut the cherry, cut the tie, right? I was on Wall Street, we cut the tie in the first account. So this is that, cut the tie. Good old Nelson Braff, Jody Eisenberg. That was a good time. Well, we talk about developments, you're gonna wanna understand that you don't know what you don't know. So write this down. First thing that I would do is, I would start and I'd say to understand the process. Look at the zoning and planning board and just Google zoning and planning board, New Jersey, proper guideline ordinances. Read that, memorize it. I've done this, read it probably 10 times. Why? Because you guys need to understand what you don't know. And if you understand, wow, oh, now I know that. Seek professional knowledge. You need technical training. Experience is great, but technical training buttons it up. It tightens all the loose ends. It tightens the ones that are stringing out in the clothing. Because then you know definitively. It's not, oh, well, my experience is this. Well, no, technical training is this, experience tells me this, reality is this. Might be three truths at every play. When you ever get into an argument with somebody, they see it a different way than you do because you're arguing. You follow me? What makes them right versus you wrong, what makes you right, them right versus you wrong. You follow? It's all about the way you see it. So it's not to say that you don't see it the same, it's how do we see it more similar together. If we can create that, I think our communities will be much better in every respect, because you're bringing people together versus bringing them apart. Housing is one of them. Guys, think a townhouse community that we're working on, you bring in the kiddie pool, right? Little area for a play for kids, little water element, dog park, you got guest parking. All of a sudden now the neighbors wave to each other. You got a new community, and John and Sue, who are raising their 3-year-old, and Sally just divorced Stan from Connecticut, who moved here to get closer to her daughter, and then John, who's an old mechanic that just sold his assets, moved close to his daughters right next to him. These are the types of communities that you then create. So when you look at it from that angle, you start saying to yourself, why don't we have more of them? And you start understanding why. So you have to put these teams together. The reason this is so complex is it takes a lot. It takes many different disciplines in order to facilitate land developments. So what we ought to do is start right from the get-go, which is technical training. Zoning and planning board ordinances, state of New Jersey. Understand what the process looks like for you to get through this. That's gonna be a process for a single family home, 2-family, 100-unit acre subdivision with mall, everything. So it goes right through there. So what stands in the way is the way. If you know that, then you one more check ahead in terms of the development, bro. You'll know a little bit better. And I don't know about you, but I didn't ride the bike the first time and just go and ride the bike fully. I fell so many times I skinned my knee, I got all messed up. But I kept going like all of you did, and then all of a sudden you learned it. So just think of it like that. Almost anything in life. Why will Gary Keller teach us too? It's one of the things I love. You're gonna fail forward. Just keep going. You made a mistake on development, you analyzed it wrong, great. I've done a million of those. Analyze it wrong. But I got a lot right. So I encourage you guys to understand that putting together your team, if you're gonna do this yourself, this is on you. If it's gonna be a developer that you're working with, it's on them. So somebody's gonna have to put this team together. So if you're going for a 5-townhouse subdivision, 50 units, multifamily podium, you're going for 112 stacked flats mixed with market rate 25 by 50 townhouses. Anything, could be 4 units, all these things, all the same box, all the same process, right here. Zoning attorney is number 1, architect number 2, your planner, town planner, huge. Think of how do you have a quarterback within the mix of the quarterback, because you're the quarterback, but then you have somebody else that's kind of just as smart on the football field. That typically could be maybe the center, it could be the wide receiver. So somebody else on your team that's kind of playing your B, D, or A to cover the back is always one. That's usually your town planner. Civil engineer, obviously you need structure, right? Traffic engineering, all these things. Environmental consultants. Think if I don't have a great environmental consultant, I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna go through developments, because those things are gonna be pertinent. They come across, like pieces of land. Industrial buildings that were mechanics, and manufacturing companies that were putting hydraulics in, and all the liquid goes in the ground, and you're trying to deal with how to navigate that. Maybe you don't do it. Maybe you do something else, but those are the complexities that you're navigating around. Traffic engineers, municipal teams. Think, how do we get from step 1 to step 5 and everybody in between? It's kind of in our way. But at the same point, we have to take conditions and requests from town, from everything, and put it in this big pot of stew. And stir it all around, guys. A little pepper, salt, oregano, whatever you guys want to throw in. That's kind of exactly the formula. It's really putting that in and then serving it to the town and saying, does this work? Do you guys like the taste of this? And if you can do that with front running, especially with the development team, you have to spend some dollars on it, but you'll get an initial response. An initial response will give you a conditions list. Conditions list, then start the approach of playing footsies with the town. Kind of like the way that before you met your wife, you were dating her, right? You took her to get a little bit of popcorn. You brought her to the movies. And then all of a sudden, years later, you married her, right? You didn't ask her to marry her right at the beginning. Right? That'd be foolish. So you don't just go right to the town with everything. You start seeing what the master plan is. You start seeing what the feel for the area is. You start sizing it up to throw all the ingredients into the stew before you start serving a fresh first draft. You know, and then from that list, they start warming up. You'll know immediately whether or not it's received well or it's not. But they need to know you're spending dollars, time, and resources on it, but they don't take you serious. And if you don't have a track record where they can look it up and see all the developments, just think of it as, I gotta prove myself. How do I do that? Just going a little bit extra. That extraordinary comes from extra, right? So it might be calling people you didn't call before that you now call and say, hey, we did a real estate development deal. You were a rock star attorney. I looked up to you. I got a question. Would you take my call on, tomorrow at 2 o'clock if I had 10 minutes to run past you, land use? You seem like the most opt. And most likely they're going to say yes. But you got to start building who your professionals are so that when people go and say, yes, I can make a call for you, you have to call. So you have to build your team. A little bit of this. We practice in KW, the A, B, C's, D's. I don't know if you guys understand that follow-up system of it. Kind of accountant, business owner, all that, and bold, they go about it as well. Think of it the same thing here. You're building your data bank of these professionals. If you build that, you'll always be able to make a development call. Like if I have a development site, I just call my architect real quick. Size this up for me in 5 minutes. Now, I might give them indicators based on what I have suggested online, product and things, and then start formalizing, then goes to engineering. So it's, you could do the same thing. So think of it, how far do you want to go? How much do you want to know? Things like that will go. So I always suggest CCIM training too. So write this down, CCIM, Mary, CCIM there, CCIM training. That's going to be your technical training, all the formula trainings, everything that I've trained on, studied outside of any other items for this same thing. There's an excellent book. One of the first books I read, and I read it all the time still. I actually grew in one and bought another one. It's called The Development Matrix. Read that book. If you guys want to learn really what development is and talk this level and be at that point, it's a hard copy book. You can write in it, gives you everything. Writes the 8 stages of land development. The 7 stages of land development, the 8 tasks of each stage that goes through it. And you can size up where the development is. That's the development matrix we use for our principal problems. Okay. So, questions on putting together a team. Sinai, you ready to put together a team? You ready to put together a team? 2026 is the year, Sinai. Are we doing a project? Maybe we co-broke together? What are we looking at? I know that brain runs and we talk often. So I'm just saying, untap it. How do you do it? We're going through this right now with developers on 201 unit. What do we do, Bruce? How do we go about it? What's the cost? All this. You have to give them clarity. So you got to do a few. So experience helps. Get a little technical training because then you can back it with the experience. Somebody in your office is doing a development. Hey, I want to help out for nothing. I want to learn this development. We have meetings. If you have anything, can I just tag along, sit in the back? Can I go on site? Do something. Get into somebody's matrix that's already doing this. Just be a shadow on the wall for a little bit. Yeah.
I've been doing this. Usually they have this zoning and planning meetings. The town, the city.
Oh yeah, once a month.
And that's free. They do it on Zoom. You can just watch it, the entire team. You can see all the top attorneys, top architects, and you get to learn the language. That's what I've been doing for 2 years.
Cool. Just sit on that. So what he just said was my strategy to meet all the developers. That was my exact strategy. I put a strategy together many years ago, once upon a time, where I said I want to meet who is building the biggest stuff in this planet. Who's around here? Who are these people? Do they look like me? Do they come from a different planet? I don't know how you get to that level. I was like, what are these people? I don't know who they are. Have you guys ever wondered how big these buildings are? Who puts these things together? I do all the time. Like, how the heck did somebody put this together? I want to meet this person, right? I want to be in the room with this person and see what the heck they do. Maybe I'm not so different. Maybe I can do the same if that's the case. They're doing it. Maybe I could. It's kind of like my theory. And what I've learned, research has shown that they're no different than any of us. They're absolutely the same. They just put a team together, had a vision, brought it to life. It's really that simple. So if you can put a team together and you remember your sports days, or if you didn't play sports, if you can just understand a team concept where you have to work together collaboratively. You can do that. You have a quarterback. That's how you start over these developments. So once you've analyzed it and gone through that, you're going to start this. Next slide, please. Here's a sample of one project that we did in Jersey City. Jason and I, we took this amazing arts, creative, giant building studio property. And one that we did, and if you go to the next slide, we converted and we put this bad boy right here on 660 Grand Street. So this whole thing, we did the same concepts, everything that we're describing applied, and if you go to the next slide, we made it this. So this was what we call retrofit. So when you do land development, if you save a building, you're in urban areas like ours, maybe there's a retrofit to be had, depends on the structure of the building, and depends on all different things. So when you look at it from a development perspective, what did this turn into? This turned into 33 apartments. What was it prior? A dilapidated art studio that was run down and possibly going up for an auction. You know, so instead, ever since we did that, all the other buildings around the neighborhood have all injected and started going up. So what is everyone's value? Increased neighborhood, streetscape, and everything on that corridor from Bergen Lafayette into downtown. So it's form fitting. Rooftop, you have patios. On here, there's green roof, some other elements as well throughout. So save the structure. Yeah, just an example. Yeah, we saved the structure. So just giving the example of one as we're talking, this is the team, you put everything together, you go through this is the finished product. All right, and you go to the next slide.
So art studio into a what?
Art studio, flaming art studio. They had a guy one time come with fire that spit out of their mouth. Those types of art studios, okay? Funky Jersey City, really cool eclectic type that we absolutely love. You know, the family member that you have that's like, got that vibe, or like, oh, I wish, cool. Maybe in another life. Anyway, that's what it was. So,
What did it turn into?
it's a 33 apartments.
33 apartments, and then did you guys have to get approvals for that?
Yeah, just everything that we just talked about here. We just went through the entire process. We went through everything from the professionals. So you gotta stack the professionals team. That's what we're talking about as you get to this finished product that we just went through.
What was your time frame from start to finish?
More or less. This was roughly,
Building to, you know.
this one was about 12 to 14 months, give or take. From start to finish, depends on your town. The towns are different. So when you look at it, you have to understand and judge the risk of the town. There are a lot of applications coming in. There's not a lot of applications. There's not a lot, probably better off get on sooner. But if not, they have to give you certain things. The town have ordinances where they have to based on timelines. So you can get on there, but you gotta get it deemed acceptable and satisfied. Once they have that, then they have a 45-day window to get you onto an agenda. Yeah, any other questions so far? So far, so good? So to Adam's point earlier, what we did here is you saw the whole building. Adam, if you go back to it. This was the old dilapidated property. This, we had to go put our team together, purchase the property, negotiate the contract, get the deal done, then put it into concept, into then bringing it to life with division, engineering, formalizing, everything that goes through that, with all the other checks. Went to the town, they approved it. Unappealable approvals then were had, so write that down. If you're gonna get a development, you want unappealable approvals, so make sure you write that down. That's very key word. And at that point, you then start your zoning and resolution compliance. Zoning and resolution compliance is basically saying you have a checklist that you have to go through, which could be the Department of Transportation, DOT, could be the DEP, Department of Environmental, could be all of these different things.
Unappealable.
Unappealed means you had it memorialized and then you went through the appeals period. So once you get a property approved, it doesn't mean you're just approved. It means that you have to have the next meeting to get it actually memorialized and the board signs off on this. Then from that point, once you have a signed actual resolution in hand, you have a 45-day appeal period, which means that you have 45 days that you have to wait before nobody can appeal the project. Okay? Then they're tradable, or you can build it, or you can do it. So before, went through this whole process, got it done, zoning resolution compliance, in terms of after it's approved. So if you want to just write your stages down, you can go through that. And we'll pull up our development matrix as well. Into, Adam, if you could, the next slide.
Could you just stand on that side, please?
Better view. So project 2, another one just right down the road in the same town, is 475 Communipaw. This was a car wash. It was a corner car wash on Communipaw that we turned into 40 apartments.
So just sold, huh?
Yeah, just sold. No, I didn't sell it, no broker. But sold it, yeah, just over 16 million. Good insight. So that was us. As we continue onward, you'll see that this was the former project right here. Car wash. Car wash. So when we look at this, you understand, you know the difference of what this was to what it is now. Have you been to the building? It's a beauty. You guys see the difference of this? This is a night and day difference. We took a car wash that had garbage everywhere and turned it into a brand new building that is living, breathing, rented all the units out, kicked butt, and it's a sexy new build. So these things are passionate towards that. So this was our second, right here, right on that corridor in Jersey City on the Bergen Lafayette area. You'll see this project, green roof, luxury New York City views, and just recently. So 4 floors above 2 decks of concrete. You'll see right here, you'll go through, and then you have 1 deck, and then the second is the retail. So you got like a tennis and racquetball, daycare, and then all the apartments.
Was it difficult to change the zoning from business to residential?
I mean, when you say typical, what do you mean?
I mean, was it difficult, you know, like it's.
Difficult?
It was business.
This one was challenging. This one was challenging. It had its roadblocks. What we did during the entitlement process is we knew that the area kind of had a land island, so we needed to have the parking ratio met, which we hit. We got our 22 parking spots, and then we were deciding whether or not the retail was warranted in this area. Because we wanted more apartments, they wanted to see some retail as well, so we had to push that in there, which was kind of a couple of months going back and forth. And the rooftop, that was something that we wanted. They gave us green roof as well, which was helpful because it kind of mitigates a lot of the other items that they had. But it was a work in progress. We got in before the change of the board and some other items that were going on. So it's a little more challenging now.
So they didn't force you to do a mixed use then?
No, they did. We did a mixed use. Retail, roughly 7,000 square feet of commercial, and then 40 residential apartments. Adam, all right, good. Next slide. I'll stay on this slide.
Yeah, no, you can switch. Switch the side. Because I moved the camera.
Okay. So, another project that we did, I can say, this project right here, if you guys have driven by, it's kind of like a little bit of a landmark. You guys have driven by the high school. No, that's Trello Fly. So, Trello, we bought this one right here, and we made this into 10 apartments. Rooftop. One of the favorite things I could do is watch a football game on a rooftop for high school. So kind of one of those things that I had promoted here. I thought it was hilarious. But I always said, I mean, God, you got a sports rooftop with a built-in rec facility. Everything is right there. It's how cool is it? I know me, I'm an active guy. I like to walk around and see life and see people, you know. So we thought of it as a good strategic location. And this one, Adam, if you could hit the next slide. This one's actually being currently under construction now. This would be that. Town didn't want to go vertical too high. They wanted to see it a little bit less. Couldn't go Jersey City with the 4, but had to stick a little bit lower into the density, the parking ratio a little higher, which means that they require more parking. If you have 1 bedroom, they require 1 spot. If you have 2 bedroom, maybe they require 2 parking spots. Maybe not. Maybe it's 1.8, 1.5. These are the varying differences that you'll see in New Jersey. And why we're talking about difference in unit. So you can have the same exact size property in a different town and totally different developments. From attractiveness to build to desire. If you guys understand that, you just fit kind of the butt of the seat of the town. So you match what the town is with what the development is, because they have a master plan. You want to see these things built, see this over here, clean this up, do that, you know. If you go into the town's, you know, council area, that's what they do. To this gentleman's point, going to those meetings is the exact way that you can start seeing what the town's deciding on its behalf of its members. I did that same thing with him. And I just sat there and watched these meetings go one by one by one, and I learned everything. And what you learn is that a lot of people go the developer route where it's like, I just want to maximize everything and just, you know, screw everybody. And then you have the other ones that actually try to advance the communities and help them out and are well received. They're two different people in terms of the way that the optics of the municipality look at them. So if you can change the way you look at something, the way you look at it changes. And if you allow them to see where you're coming from, which is, hey, this is the way that we do our job and profession. You guys want new houses, half of you live in new houses, right? Where'd you get it from? Somebody built it, right? So give us a little bit here, you know? So you wanna keep getting it, we wanna keep doing this, and where's that middle line that we can kind of tiptoe across? And then get across in terms of approval, and then whether or not we build it, pass the baton, whatever our strategy is. Okay, questions on this? Good? Okay. 10 units right here, something smaller, something more compact. Think bigger in scale. Once you get over 5 floors, write this down. Once you get over 5 floors, light gauge and concrete, totally changes the way that the build is. Totally changes the way that the build is, guys. It goes into concrete. So when you're like, oh, I got a 75 unit and it's 9 stories tall and it's in Newark or it's in one of these areas, and you're like, yeah, price per door, maximum price. No. It just shows you're uneducated in development. So what you want to understand is, how do I study to know what the differences of these are? I can give you just some very good baseline words. Anything in Bergen County could trade under 100 units between 50 and about 85,000 a door for multifamily. That's just right there out the gate. If it goes under, we're talking socioeconomics, where it's going to be a little bit more risk, guys. And if it's higher, you're going to pay a premium because you're going to get less risk. It's going to be, you know, those types of areas. So it's relative. So if you just common sense on my head and just put that into motion, everyone here has life experience. Just put that into motion. And then think of reasonability. If you see an industrial building and you got a property here and across the streets, the retail, maybe it's not the best residential development, okay? Don't force a circle on a square peg. But if you see, this was the old cantinery that shut down. It's got like a gazebo on it. It doesn't really fit well. It's oversized. Next door is a development. Across the street, it's a new townhouse project. That's a residential development. How do we go about it now? You know, is it how many units? What does it look like? Is this a townhouse play? Is this multi, single family subdivision? That's kind of then the next conversation, what we call, which is feasibility. If you understand feasibility, it's just highest and best use of what it is for that one. Okay, so just going into these couple of tranches that you can understand: acquisitions, land packaging and banking, what we were just talking about, and then finished product. And it's different stages if you want to just understand that. All right. Cortland and Belleville. Adam, go back to the other side. I'm so sorry. Another project in Belleville. This was 18 units that we did. This was a commercial building. This was, look at all the parking. I mean, it had a 2-family right here. What do you guys do? You got a property, it's got a random 2-family, it's, you know, what do I do? Well, let me understand what Bruce taught me, which is there's 3 steps of evaluating commercial real estate. Those 3 steps are price per square foot, income and expense, and dirt to dollars development potential. There is no other judgment. Anyone can say whatever they want. Those are the way that it is. That's the way it is. And that's how we value things. So if it fits those boxes, look for the max value of the one. And if it's a dirt to dollars development, you just gave the owner something that nobody else gave them, which is clarity with all the chaos. Think all this noise about every headline about all this, and you actually can get a signal.
So
That's all they want, is clarity.
I have a question. So with that particular project there, you obviously have mixed zoning, I'll just use that phrase, because you have some residential and you have the building that you guys bought. Does that make the
It's
process
actually 2 different properties.
does that make the process going through easier? Like you don't have to get this variance or that variance because the zoning already accommodates. That make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't make it easier.
Or it does
It
not?
just makes it more scalable. I think the reason that we would want to assemble a property is to, yeah, I guess make it easier, but it's really more to hit parking units to make the scale of the project bigger. I think if you have something smaller and you need more space for more parking. Let's say you only get 10 units on it, but with the neighboring property, you get 40. You follow? You can maybe buy that other one for a similar price, if not a little bit more, and it works out. That's kind of where that goes. Mixed use or properties, it's just the town. Think of it as they'll do a survey. So even if you bought this property, this one, and this one, they're all different. And you said, hey, as an applicant, because that's the way town looks at this application. So as an applicant, you put everything in here. They just look at that. So, and whether or not it's one property, 2, 5, mixed. Mixed will give you a higher probability of saying that they're pretty much open to some interpretation, discretion or so. You know, you put, anytime I laugh, a commercial seller years ago, he had 8 apartments and he had a giant warehouse building. And I was just like, how is 8 apartments attached to this giant warehouse building? Who would build this? I realized, well, I was thinking of myself in 2024, whatever year it was. But I didn't think of myself as, what if I was in the 1960s and I needed my workers to live where my factory is? What would I do? I would build that, right? So it's just like, wow, just gotta look at things a little different. You can understand it. So I'm encouraging you guys to just look at it a little different. And just look at it the same way you're doing, just a little different. With these types of optics on it. If you do that, you'll see it. Reticular active, you'll say, this is a possible development. How do I formalize it? ChatGPT will help you out and start running off and a team in place. And this is what you'd suggest to a seller. You wanna get a listing, I can untap the dirt to dollars, I have a team in place, here's what the rough numbers look like. Is that attractive? The property's at under $1 million, I just left a listing appointment this morning on a 50-unit development. Property's under, hypothetical numbers, under $1 million without it as is. Putting this plan in place, it's at double the amount, $2 million. Do you wanna wait 6 to 12 months? No, Sally's got a graduate, yes, sounds good, I want that extra beach house. Depends on the seller's life. But you can provide them options, which will give you the foot in the door, which tells them that you're a better agent and broker than somebody else. And nobody better than the ones that do it, which is I always encourage you guys, band together. I band together with Jason. I didn't know Jason before I met him. I took a chance on somebody I thought was awesome and a rock star and wanted to do something bigger than what I'm doing right now, which is brokering. How do you guys make your impact? A little bit of courage, guys. A little bit of piss and vinegar, right? A little bit of zest. Find somebody that's great if you can't do it yourself. Try something else. Start with 1 family, 2 family. Leverage financing. You can get these things in order, but if you're not doing these next steps in your brokering career, you're not gonna be a better broker than the person next to you. Because it's only gonna make you sell more homes and more commercial properties are specifically. Okay. How are we doing on time, guys? 125, perfect. All right, keep it going. So Belleville, 18 unit, we turn this into, ta-da! Just some things, I mean, no different, no visual outside of just something we thought would be attractive. What do you guys think is attractive? Jerome don't think you're attractive. What does Sally Sue? We ask a ton of people. Me, I don't wanna be right, I just wanna be accurate. So, accurate.
There's a dollars and cents.
Well, that's what I mean, accurate. I know the dollars and cents on these things inside and out.
There's a dollars and cents, how much does it cost from, like, to get the resolutions and approvals and everything else?
Depends on the project. Your project scale will be your size because they have timelines that expand and they have multiple meetings and they have additional layers. Think like, if you have a simple regular 5-step plan and when you go to scale, it could be 10 steps. Because now you have all these other affiliated companies that you have to get approvals from. You have to get kind of the blessings, so to speak, from them all. It's not the way it works. So think more scale, more cost. Do 12 townhouses, something similar, under 20 units, you're pretty much at a relatively fixed cost, maybe $1,200, depending on who you use. I've had architects hit us with 50 grand and the same thing is 20 grand. Who's smarter, who's not, I don't know, but we like to use the firepower that the town's like. So if they've been received well by the town and everyone's playing nice in the sandbox, why would we want to disrupt it with some newcomer coming in? Right? Have you ever brought a friend to your gatherings of the people that you know really well? You're taking a risk on that friend being a representation of yourself. So you better hope that you brought the right friend, right? Now, if you ever had one that you brought that wasn't, like I've had an experience in life, you never want to bring them again. The same thing. So common sense is just going to hit us in the face on every one of these developments. Just bam, right in the face. You force in a square peg in a round hole, there shouldn't be a development there. It'll hit you right in the face. Whether you choose to continue, that's on you. Somebody's gonna be like, does this really make sense? No, it doesn't.